Hi, I'm Ashley Jones. I'm a technical product owner here based in the United States, and I'm going to talk about the most recent release, 4.6, which came out just about 3 weeks ago. So there's 3 items I'm going to cover. The first one is how much faster forms can be now. This mainly is focused on forms with complex calculations, and you can see here that over a 315 installation, running 4x can be up to 60% faster. There are also gains for 4.0 and 4.5. We saw the highest gain from the 3x branch. This is really exciting because we not only were able to test this internally, but I think within a week of posting it, we had a community member report that they also saw gains. So it's really, really great to have our work on this validated the moment that it's released. Again, the main benefit you'll see here is on forms with complex calculations, but you should see improvements across the board. Also in 4.6 is a script that helps deploy the CHT core to Kubernetes. So this script is a combination of Bash and Python that uses Helm to take your Helm values and push it to a Kubernetes cluster. Kubernetes is the new way that we recommend hosting CHT. This is going to be sort of a slow process migrating away from Docker Compose and heading towards Kubernetes. Internally at Medic, we've been testing the CHT deploy script for quite some time. Medic uses an EKS cluster hosted at Amazon and their AWS hosting service. And using this has enabled developers to easily deploy a CHT core instance to our EKS cluster to test something in a more production-like environment. As well, because this is more production-like, the instance is publicly accessible. It has a valid TLS certificate and all the other benefits of production hosting. So by testing this internally, we've been able to improve it and validate that it works, and we would love for other folks to give it a try. And again, what this mainly does is it simplifies all the extra steps that are needed to deploy a instance of CHT core using Helm to a Kubernetes cluster. One of the other highlighted features in 4.6 is the descendant contact searches. What this does is it enables a CHW who's filling out a form and they want to select a contact to have their search limited to just that hierarchy level. So for example, if you were looking at the head of a household and you wanted to find their child or another dependent in their family, instead of needing to search all the contacts in that area, you can limit the search to just the hierarchy that you're looking in. So this will reduce the amount of cognitive load that the CHW has to do, and it also should make the search go faster by having to reduce the number of contacts that they're looking for. So while not a feature that happened in 4.6, I did want to highlight some recent contributions that go into releases. The first one is a countdown timer that is required. You saw in Lal's presentation, there was a timer in there. This is the same timer, but it's required. So what happened here is there was a technical partner who had a need to have the timer be required. And by working with Medic teammates internally, they were able to get this feature merged into CHT Core. And now it's available upstream as an open source project, and everyone else can use it. This is a great way to have new features come into CHT Core, and we're really excited that we have someone who wanted to add this and work with us to help improve the software. Just like the countdown timer, there was a date XPath function that was added, and this allows you to calculate the difference between 2 dates, and the need was exactly the same. There was a technical partner who had this need, and they submitted a pull request via GitHub. They were able to work with Medic teammates to make sure it goes through the process and benefit everyone else now that it's, I believe the XPath is yet to be merged and countdown timer has been merged. But they are going to be coming out in future releases. All right, I think that's it for 4.6. I saw a few comments in chat, I think, about the external contribution. Any questions?
name is Elijah, and I work at Medic as an app developer. Um, Around 2 years ago, we had GPS issues with a certain project that we had deployed. And the key takeaway from the investigation that we did is the device models were the main blocker towards getting accurate GPS information. So to provide more context, the devices were only equipped with assisted GPS functionality. So this is abbreviated in the device features as AGPS. And the way AGPS is designed to work is by querying the telephone network, the mobile service provider that is in use. They provide contextual GPS information to the device, and then the device can use that to provide location information to the user. So to get around this, there are models which have additional GPS capability. So this tends to be independent, and the device can query the satellites that are circling the Earth directly and get that information to show the user where exactly they are. So at the point at which you are deploying a project, this is a critical piece of information to make sure that you get the right kind of device so that GPS functionality is not hampered.
Hi, everyone. My name is Michael Cohn. I'm a product manager here at Medic and just wanted to share a couple updates from care teams. So one of the main areas we're working on right now is client performance and making sure that the CHT is fast for CHWs. As Mr. Jones just mentioned, well, that's hard to say, as Mr. Jones just mentioned, version 4.6 improved the performance of forms significantly. And last month, I presented on how we can use AppDex to measure performance and help us know where CHWs are experiencing slow page loads in other areas of the app. So this work on AppDex has been merged and is scheduled to be in 4.7. The documentation is already out there. You can see on the telemetry page, there's a new column there that indicates where AppDex is being captured. So since this is all part of the existing telemetry system, there are no new features you need to turn on to start collecting this AppDex data behind the scenes. But to make sure things are faster for CHWs, we really need data from actual usage. So since each implementation of the CHT uses different phones and has different configurations for things like tasks and contact forms and app forms, it's really critical for us to utilize real telemetry data from actual CHWs. So if you want to help make your CHT app faster for CHWs in your program, definitely let's start talking about your telemetry data now. Just reach out to me directly or on the forum, either way. In the meantime, we wanted to start working on speeding up areas that we know CHWs interact with every time they use the app. So what we've done is set up some instances with realistic configurations. We've loaded up thousands of documents on those for those users. We've developed some testing scenarios that simulate several days worth of CHW interactions, and we're running these test scenarios on actual physical devices. So running these tests on the physical devices, it does not replace the need for telemetry data from real CHW interactions, but it allows us to create a reliable baseline for the performance enhancements that we are working on. And as a first goal, we're working on speeding up the list view and detail view on the contacts page. We'll publish the results of these improvements as we make progress, but again, having the real telemetry data will help us know more about problematic areas and allow us to focus our efforts in the most impactful areas as well. So that's a quick update on our client performance work. Next, I wanted to share an update on some work we're doing around empowering supervisors. So this diagram illustrates a typical hierarchy where you have a community health unit with one supervisor per CHU, the community health unit. So there's a one-to-one relationship between those CHUs and the supervisors. Another common scenario that we see is to have one supervisor overseeing CHWs in multiple community health units. We've seen some projects approach this scenario with workarounds like adding additional hierarchy levels or giving supervisors multiple logins, but we recognize that that is definitely not optimal. And to help support this better, we're working on a solution that allows supervisors to be associated with multiple community health units. We've already done some initial usability testing on what the potential user interface changes might look like, and we plan on starting the technical work on this soon, but would love to hear more about your specific context. So if you have supervisors that support CHWs across multiple areas, and we haven't already talked to you, then you can reach out to me directly or grab this forum post. And yeah, you can either reach out to me directly or just post something here on the forum, and yeah, we'll talk. We'd love to chat in more detail.
Just out of curiosity, Michael, I see this, the top one, the yellow color box is left without any label.
Yeah.
What was it?
Yeah, the different projects call those different things. So it's sometimes the CHU might actually be a supervisor area or you know, a health post or anything. So the names are really just don't really matter too much here. Just conceptually, this is what a hierarchy often looks like.
Hi, everyone. Nicole, product designer based in Canada. So I just wanted to give a quick update on the navigation. As hopefully you all know, over the past year, we've been making incremental changes to the UI of the CHT to align more closely with material design. And we're doing that to align it more closely to familiar apps that end users use, CHWs use, similar to WhatsApp and other things we've seen on their phone. And some of the earlier efforts to update the UI that we've done so far include updating that bottom button bar to a floating action bar, so that little blue plus sign, and updating the designs of our search, sort, and filter. So that brings us here in our current version today. And in this quarter, we'll be finalizing the designs for the navigation. This is going to be the final planned step of the UI overhaul. And what that's going to look like is changing the top bar from tabs, which they currently are, to a title with the menu icon. We're going to update our menu to be a drawer, makes it more scalable, and also moving the buttons from tabs to buttons at the bottom of the bar, better for ergonomics, more aligned to WhatsApp, as I mentioned, and hopefully will facilitate ease of use and learning with new users. So in theory, this might be a small conceptual change, but it is a very large visual change. And we know that that comes with some issues around training and upgrading. So these will be released with training cards to explain what these changes are. But we'd also love for anyone who wants to be involved in the rollout of these to join us for some user testing, and also letting us know what kind of support we might be able to add in terms of the uptake of these changes. If there's anything that you know might be a challenge for training, for upgrading, please reach out, and we want to make this as seamless as possible. On the care teams, I mean, we at Medic have always been doing these user interviews with end users. Care team specifically focuses on CHWs and supervisors. So we've spoken to quite a few of them. It's been a while since we've given an update. So this is to date, we're looking at 138 users, including all CHWs and supervisors, and collected 176 stories from them, which we have synthesized and aggregated into these insights on this list. So a lot of feedback about the app taking a long time to load. So currently what we're working on. The UI is difficult to navigate, also something we're working on. And you can see the corresponding number of stories, the insight. Users can't easily find who they're looking for. So we know people are scrolling for quite a bit of time before finding the household or patient they're looking for. Muting is used for unintended purposes. So we know that we've heard that CHWs are using mute for people who are deceased or who have moved, and it gets a little bit funky in the data. There are challenges with onboarding and training, which is going to be relevant for the navigation. Users can't access the app, so trouble with logging in, how we might handle passwords. It's hard to secure sensitive information, also similar to that. And work taking longer due to duplication of data entry. So, yep, just some of the top insights we've heard from those interviews and those stories. Always looking to speak with more users. So if you would like to give us some feedback, please reach out on the forum, reach out to myself. I will just drop my email in the chat. And that's it for me. Thanks.
Thanks again, Nicole. Just a curiosity. So the users were from which regions? I mean, like this 133 you mentioned?
They're from across countries and projects. So we've spoken to users in person and remotely. So MOH Kenya, at PIH Malawi, LG, to name a few. But yeah, we're trying to get a well-rounded source of user feedback.
Great. Thank you.
Elias has some updates about Android that we've been working on recently. On the left, you see a screenshot that I really liked reading, and it was kind of terrifying understanding what it meant, which was something went wrong with HTTP Kenya. So normally this would say something went wrong with Gmail or something went wrong with WhatsApp, that it was the APK. But this gave it a more existential feeling that there was something largely wrong. It turns out there wasn't something wrong with HTTP Kenya. There was indeed something just wrong with the APK. But what it meant was that for Android 14, that the app was crashing. And we were able to work with specific devices to figure out why it was crashing and ultimately backport the change, which was to target the Android 14 API in the CHT Android APK, and then release an update for that. So what this means is that we now don't crash on Android 14 and that there is indeed nothing wrong with HTTP Kenya. It's going well. The other thing that we're working on in Android support land is the ability, on the right there, you see the interface for Android to catch a link and an intent. So when you have a link to your CHT core instance that's sent over SMS or WhatsApp or in an email, the app can actually intercept it and open it up. This is mainly used in token login links or magic links, which are links that allow you to, with one click, log into the CHT without needing to enter in a login or a password. And this is a very easy way for logging someone in that has forgotten their password and can get it sent over SMS if the integration is set up. Starting with Android 12, so Android 12, 13, and 14, this feature is broken because of new changes that are mandated by Google, which means that you need to take the fingerprint of the APK and embed it in the APK. You need to also then have a corresponding web.wellknown endpoint that has the same fingerprint. So the work that Alice is doing right now will be initially on the Android side of that, where we can add that fingerprint information into the app. And then later on, we'll be working on the complementary CHT core edition so that this will work for both sides of the equation. So that's the update for Allies for Android support. Happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, I think it's over to Zite for UXR update.
Hi everyone, I am Zite, a UX researcher here at Medic, and I'm based in Malawi. So I'm just going to share quick, has also been conducting some interviews with our end users who are primarily app developers. And this is just to understand the experience with building the CHT. And to date, we've collected 105 stories, and these have been from 37 interviews, and we've synthesized them into the insights that you can see on the screen. These have been ordered by the frequency in which we've heard them, and we've heard things like how it's difficult to make sense of some errors when setting up the CHT, how it's difficult to understand key concepts in the CHT, mainly be due to lack of some concise instructions or insufficient documentation, and so much more. I think the link to the forum post has already been posted in the chat if you're interested in looking at more details of the entire list. Just across all our focus working groups, we have heard over 100 stories this past quarter, and we are interested in hearing more and more just to ensure that all of our technical partners and all of our users are well represented in our feedback. So if you're interested in speaking to us, and we are interested in hearing from all of our users, be it the app developers, data scientists, CHWs, and their supervisors. So please reach out to us. You can reach out to our senior user researcher, Leah, whose email is on the screen, or you can also reach out to myself and Nicole, and we can set up a call and hear more of your feedback as well. Yeah.
Hi everyone, my name is Philip Mwago. I am a technical product owner based in Nairobi. One of the exciting things we've been working on at Medic is interoperability. And one particular project that we are supporting is having the CHT interoperate with OpenMRS. This will be based on the FHIR standards. So the two systems will be exchanging data for the ANC, that's antenatal and postnatal workflows. So we've been working on that, and it's some exciting work that we'll be making some announcements in the coming months. Some of this work will be leveraged just to enhance the reference application that we worked on. That's on loss to follow up. So for the loss to follow up, we had a number of FHIR resources. That's about 5 FHIR resources, and we leverage on all those resources just to have the data being exchanged across the two systems. And there was no need for this particular workflows did not need any extra FHIR resources. So that's what we've been working on. So yeah, so this is basically an illustration of the two systems. So here we can see a form that registers a new person. Could be if you log in as an admin, you're able to register a female community health volunteer, or on OpenMRS, you're able to register a patient that's able to sync across both systems. So this will be launched probably much later, sometime this quarter. We are working with one of our technical partners on this, and looking forward to having a partnership that will be fruitful and expand nationally within their country. That's it from me.